Welcome to this breakdown. This week we have Kyle Kuechel on from Arizona. Kyle's a coyote killing machine. He guides for them and has sent in some really good videos, real good high quality clips. And he's also got some really good information, and it's nice to talk to him and get his feedback on how he's kind of honed his skills on these coyotes. And so we'll kind of dive into this clip, man. Kyle, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. So how long you been taking people out shooting dogs?
I've been guiding for 3-4 years, but I've been predator hunting pretty seriously for the past 6 or 7 years.
What drives it, man? What gave you the bug?
Coyotes are always fun to call in and get after it, but once you start getting really good at it, it's when it really starts it takes it to the next level. I never really hunted them seriously until I think it was 2016's Black Friday sale at Cabela's. They ran a sale on Fox Pros and I bought one, and the first stand I ever made, I called in a coyote. And after that, it was over, man. That's all I wanted to do. I still hunt, big game here and there, but I really love predator hunting.
Yeah, I can see how it can be addicting, man, especially where you can do it all year. I mean, obviously there's better seasons, but...
Yeah, it was always, in Arizona, it's 1 deer per year. And so I was always looking for more opportunity to get in the field. And you can dove hunt and quail hunt, but it's not the same. And so I wanted to find something that could get me out into the field more often, chasing something else. And predators just really filled that void for me.
Nice, man. Well, I like your clips. Like I said, they're one of the higher quality ones I've seen, and they're really good, man. Nice and steady. So... before we run through this clip, this is northern Arizona. Is it spring?
Yeah, so this is January, northern Arizona, and we're hunting just the day after a pretty decent snowfall the night before. It stuck for the night, and then it kind of melted during the day, and it was just starting to snow again as we were getting into this stand.
When's the peak time to hunt these? Aren't they kind of mating in February? Is that what I recall?
Yeah, so it depends on where you're at in the state and, the temperature and everything that's going on. And I guess I shouldn't say state, in the country, because there's coyotes, in the contiguous 48. But typically I start seeing coyotes kind of shy away at the end of January. And then through that March denning season is when it gets a little more difficult to hunt them.
Oh, it's more difficult. Oh, okay. So when's your favorite time of the year to hunt coyotes?
Man, if I had to action wise, it's probably that late August, early September timing, but it's just so hot down south where I live that it's just not very enjoyable. But I've tagged along on a few elk hunts, and I always tend to get away from camp and get away from the elk and start calling predators because they're so receptive, because they haven't been messed with all summer most of the time. And so that late August through early October time for me is the most action packed.
Do you do any man, I get a lot of videos submitted in with the thermals and stuff with the coyotes. Do you do any of that stuff?
I wish I could in Arizona, but thermal hunting and night vision is illegal currently in the state. Although I would like to write a proposal to Game and Fish to figure out how we can make that legal, because it's just another level to a game that I don't have any involvement at night hunting. And, there's so much more to unpack in that realm. And I would love to explore that. I exclusively call day.
Yeah, I've done it once in Texas. I'm not a predator hunter, but I was on a hunt with some friends, and we went out, and you could use thermals there, and it was cool, man. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos online, and it's just, I just watch with bated breath until we're able to do that someday. But you can hunt certain units at night with flashlights, but I don't do that at all.
Gotcha. Cool. Like we do in the breakdowns, kind of give us your setup, your preferred setup with your gun and caliber and all that stuff, and then we'll kind of get into the clip.
Okay, so in this particular setup, I'm using the setup that I'm most comfortable with, which is a bolt action Savage 22-250. I have that mounted on a Rocksteady bipod, and I am shooting it suppressed. I have an AAC SDN6 on in this clip, and running a Vortex HS 4-16 on top. Just a pretty low end scope for what it is, but I prefer hunting with a bolt gun. I do use an AR from time to time, but I tend to be less of a cowboy when I've got a bolt gun in my hand, because I know I have to be more meticulous with my shots, and I tend to not shoot as early, or I take better shots when I've got a bolt gun in my hand. A little bit of self-regulation there.
What bullet are you shooting?
So I'm not a reloader. I shoot factory ammo. So I'm shooting Hornady 55 grain VMAX here, the Varmint Express rounds.
That seems to be the popular one for coyotes.
Yeah, it's a good round. Some people prefer the 77 grain. Some people prefer a 53 grain VMAX. I just have good luck with that 55 grain.
And then before we watch, how long have you guys been sitting here calling?
I think we're probably here about 4 minutes on the stand.
And then obviously it's really open, so you guys could have seen this dog coming for a while, huh?
Yeah, so we're just on the backside of a hill where we've got the truck parked maybe 1/8 of a mile behind us. We've walked in and there's a dead tree. You can kind of see the limb in the bottom right of the screen there. We're just to break up our outline, we're sitting below that tree or right next to it. And open field, there was some antelope kind of cruising around when we came into this set, but we didn't know there was a coyote out here. But we had a pretty good premonition there would be some around. And just, yeah, I started calling. Usually start every stand with something high pitched, low volume, like a rat distress or something. Some people like to come out and howl right off the rip, but I know there's already coyotes in the area, so I don't necessarily need to locate them. You're in their territory, so there's going to be coyotes present. So we usually start that low volume, high pitched sound, and then kind of roll into something that's a little more loud to get the sound kind of out further away from where you're calling, just in case there's not something right on top of you. We've had it where we turn on the call and 30 seconds in, you got something bombing in. This one was about 4 minutes in, so we rolled from like that high pitch, low volume rat into a raven. And up north, there's not a lot of ravens down south where I live, but up north where there's a lot of ravens present, I find that the raven's kind of a little secret weapon. And coyotes are super curious, and so when they hear those ravens, they're going to want to come in and see what those ravens are landing on and try to flush them to get at whatever the ravens are getting at, because ravens don't usually waste time when something goes down, and so those coyotes want to get in on that fresh death or fresh kill or whatever may be down.
That makes sense. And I've always wondered, like, when you go to a setup and you're kind of evaluating your location, is there like a preferred call that you go to, or do you, like, is it based on the situation, or is it just something that you've kind of worked through the process of what works and what doesn't?
Everyone's got their go-to sounds and their go-to sequences, but I mean, for me, it all depends because I hunt so many different months out of the year. It depends what I'm doing. In the early season, you can just rip right into distress and you don't even need to play any vocals or anything like that. With this, it's more of the comfort sounds, more of the curiosity. You want to pique the curiosity of the coyotes, and light volume tends to work better in these months, in my opinion, as opposed to just loud, aggressive sounds that get something. They tend to be more tense, I think, because they've been pressured throughout the year, at least for the fall, anyway.
Gotcha. Because it raises the question. When I was in Texas, he played like 7 different types of calls, and I was like, I didn't ask, but I was like, why are we going through all these calls? Is there a specific reason, or what piques their interest most?
I'll roll through a bunch of different sounds, whether it be, the rat, the raven, the rabbit, submissive coyotes, aggressive coyotes, curious coyotes, fights. It just depends on how I'm feeling, and how they've been coming in throughout the day too, kind of plays into it a lot. If we're having good success with distress in most of our sets, there's no reason to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but what I'll play 4 or 5 rabbits if I'm playing the rabbit, because what I've kind of learned over the years is that it may just take that one specific sound to pique that exact coyote's curiosity. Like maybe that one isn't doing it for them. They're definitely hearing it, but it's not doing it for them. And then you just play that one sound that just makes them tick, and then they're in,
Well, let's, we'll do is we'll watch this full clip, and then just kind of comment on reliving it for us, and kind of what you're thinking as this dog runs in.
Sure. So I saw this coyote coming in from about 1,000 yards. I'm actually hunting with a buddy of mine, Craig Steele, who's the owner of Rocksteady, and he's filming and running the call. And I told him, we got a coyote coming in hot, out here. He got on it, and we're just letting it roll in. I've already got the scope on the coyote, and I'm kind of trying to figure out where I want to stop the coyote. And so I tell Craig here pretty soon, stop him whenever. He barks twice, and the coyote stopped on the second bark because she was so committed to the call. When she stopped, she presented a 1/4-2 shot, and so I just held center mass, left of the head, right of the tail, put it right on the button. It's a heart shot in that 1/4-2, so those coyotes tend to run when you shoot them in the heart. And I've had coyotes run 150 yards and then just, they just run out of gas and pile up. But I'm the type of person that doesn't want to let anything live longer than it has to. So I racked another round, and I led her about 4 feet, and I hit her on the run and put her down with the second shot. She was going to die with the first shot, but...
You said how far was this coyote again?
I shot her at 101 yards.
And then the audio, maybe I'll unmute it. It always kind of makes the video a little... But you can hear Craig. You said he's just making like a bark sound?
Anything to get their attention, because they're focused on that call, even though we're not playing the call super loud. They know exactly where that thing is, man. Their hearing is incredible and impeccable. And I've had them come in when I have the call off, and they'll run right to the call or right to where it was. And so you can see her kind of shift her attention from her left up to us. And that's what we're trying to do. I didn't want to shoot a running coyote. And it happens, you have to do it sometimes, but I'd rather not shoot a runner if I don't have to.
And so she came into your zone where you felt like, all right, man, I can get this. This is a good shot. It's a good setup. And you had him stop her.
Yeah, I mean, anything under 200 yards, I'm pretty much just dead coyote for me. So I told Craig when he got to that 200 yard mark, I go, just go ahead and wolf at her. Stop him whenever is what I said to him. He woofed the first time, and she didn't even pay attention to it. And then he woofed a little more loudly and aggressively, and then she checked up real fast. And you can see she's just locked right onto Craig, looking straight at the camera. 5-10 yards to his right.
How much time do you have obviously now she's alert to something. She knows it's not like she's keyed in on you guys. How much long do you estimate that dog's going to be there before it takes off?
She probably would have sat there for 10, 20 seconds, maybe. It just depends on, she was kind of on a mission. So I think that she would have started looking for that call pretty quickly again. And when he did make the sound, he didn't move. So she'd be looking in the right direction. She may not understand what she's looking at, right away.
Well, then let's break the clip down. So right here, it's kind of a quarter way. So you're to the right of the camera just a little bit.
Yeah.
So right now you're dialed in. Where are you looking at placing the bullet?
Yeah, so if you can see the lines right behind her shoulders that come down from her back, that black line, that's about where I've got the bullet or the crosshair kind of trained. And that's where I'm just aiming center mass. I'm not trying to go for a headshot. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to put the coyote down. And so I shot her, right in the shoulder there. And it had snowed, like I said, the night before and that morning. And so there's a bunch of snow coming off of her when the round impacts her.
So you're looking right at that little tiny dark spot, kind of right below her nose.
Yeah.
And that's kind of okay. And then, man, you put it right there, and you're saying that's just snow from her run through the brush.
Yeah, it's just snow, and then it was about 20 degrees in this clip, so there's steam coming out of the exit hole. She's running hot, been coming in 1,000 yards on the hoof, and she was moving. So you can see when she goes down finally that there's a bunch of steam coming out of the grass too. So. Man,
it blew her up hard, like her nose all covered in blood.
Yeah, so she bit right at the exit. That's an exit wound right there. She bit right at it, and that's when her nose got the blood on it. But I could see as soon as I shot, I saw red in my scope, and you could see it just splashing out. So I knew she was going down fairly quickly, but just the nature of being wanting to put him down right away, I had to send a follow-up shot.
So your MO right there. So you realized you hit her pretty good, but you're already loaded and ready to go.
Yeah, I could hear the report from the round, but automatically run the bolt, get back on the scope, and then start following her. When she makes this left turn, she kind of commits to the way that she came in on, and so I just kind of held it about a body length in front of her and sent another round.
What magnification are you adjusting as the dog's coming in, or do you have a set preference?
This scope is a 4-16, and typically I'll just keep it on the lowest setting. I've got a throw lever on it, so I can, if the coyote checks up, I'll switch that lever over because it's just such a quick and easy adjustment. But she was 101 yards. It's very easy to see at 4x right there, and so I just sent it at 4x, and then I prefer that lower end of the magnification setting because if there's a pair or a group or they're moving, it's just a lot easier to keep the animal in the scope.
No, I agree, and that's why I brought it up. I think a lot of guys, they think they have to crank that magnification, and like I said, if she's out there 400 or 500, all right, but man, when she gets close, it's hard to find it quick, and if you're not experienced, man, it's the difference when you be able to shoot and not. But I like it's 1:45, and a lot of people on the channel, especially when I post stuff that's like this, they're like, oh, that's horrible, you can't shoot it when they're facing, but I mean, you can see how devastating it was. It's all bullet placement, man.
Yeah, I mean, you figure the average coyote's 30 pounds. So you hit them with a 55 grain bullet going 3,200 feet per second. It's going to be pretty devastating no matter which way they're facing. I would obviously prefer a broadside shot, but I'll take frontal shots all day long if I'm confident in it. You know, if it's not windy and I know it's under 200 yards, I'll put a frontal shot on a coyote.
I think it's deadly, man. I have no problem with the frontal shot if you're comfortable with it. I mean, you got to know your capabilities, but I think it's pretty lethal.
You're carrying some serious kinetic energy to a target that doesn't weigh very much, so you're going to do some good damage.
Sick, man. Well, dude, the clip's awesome. I know we got a couple more we're going to do with you later on, so tell people how they can get a hold of you and see your other content and maybe go on a hunt with you.
My Instagram handle is @KUECH, Cooch. You can find me there. You can link to my guide page there. If you want to come out and hunt in Arizona or have a buddy that wants to come out and hunt in Arizona and you guys come out together, send me a DM. Let me know. Is
there a preferred time? Like,
for you know, I don't like hunting the summer. It gets pretty hot down here where I live, 115, 120, but it ain't very much fun to go sit when it's over 90 degrees. So I like to hunt October through March. I'm getting ready to end my season here right now into March and kind of give them a break. I'll still go out and scout and kind of listen for them and kind of locate where they're denning up. But yeah, October through March is when I really like to get out and get after them.
Cool. All right, man. If you guys want to get with Kyle, go on coyote hunting in Arizona, get his handles on the screen, and then you guys can DM him. And if you guys want to be on the breakdown, DM us, get a hold of us, send in a clip, and be patient. We still got a ton of clips to feed through. So we appreciate Kyle coming on, man. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks.